Yeah. That's more like it.
I am in mourning today.
Everybody, welcome to Comic Book Queers. I am your host, Brett. And with me, as always, is EvilJeff. Hi.
Why, hello there.
We are paying tribute to the Grandmaster, the artiste with a capital Tiste, a man who shaped both of our personalities and was there for us when we were feeling lonely, isolated, sad, happy, joyful, scared, all of the above. Rest in power, rest in peace, David Lynch. This one hurts.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever cried this much over losing someone I don't know. Thank you.
This, I think in my head, I felt he was going to make something else.
Me too.
So having that finality that he would not make anything, we would never get anything new from him. It really just hit me like a gut punch.
Yeah.
David Lynch is, I believe is he your favorite director?
Yes.
He's my favorite director of all time. And it also meant that I had to change who my favorite, I had to start thinking of who's my favorite living director now. Because now that he was always my favorite living director of all time. It's very, as you can see, if you're listening, you can't tell, but I am in full glam mourning right now.
Yeah. You are as glamorous as you are in mourning.
Yes. I want to, I'm going to pause this for this music here because I want to show you, because the brilliance of David Lynch, I would like to show you something. Have you watched David Lynch's commercials?
No.
Were you
in Japan,
aware?
Right?
No, he did ones in America too. He did a PlayStation 2 commercial. But my favorite I'm going to show you right now. And audience, you can listen to it. Are you ready to listen to this commercial really quick?
Let's go.
I highly recommend you YouTube this if you're not able to watch this, if you're just listening. But I think just the audio, you can tell it's David Lynch. Here we go.
When you're waiting to find out if you're pregnant or not, nothing else in the world matters until you know. Introducing Clear Blue Easy 1-minute pregnancy test, because only Clear Blue Easy gives you a clear yes or no in 1 minute.
Oh my God. Listeners, if you could see that YouTube, that Clear Blue Easy commercial, it is unmistakably David Lynch.
David Lynch.
Unmistakably a home pregnancy test.
Yeah, and this is the brilliance of him. It's not why is this a pregnancy commercial? It's technically a normal pregnancy test commercial. But it's so Lynchian. Not only all of the clocks switch, the time all switches from yes to no. And in the end, she makes this creepy look into the camera. And you do not know if she's happy because she is pregnant or not pregnant. And you know what? That is what a David Lynch experience is. You don't know what the fuck is going on. And he doesn't know what's going on. I've been rewatching the interviews with Patricia Arquette and Laura Dern and Naomi Watts, and Patricia Arquette was even talking about in Lost Highway. She's like, "Who am I?" And she's like, "Am I two characters in this? Are they sisters?" And he's like, "I don't know, Solid Gold. What do you think?" He's the only one that could get away with that.
Yeah,
he's such an auteur, and he can take you on a journey that the fact that you don't know what's going on adds to the experience. Where most other people, you would be like, this doesn't make any sense. I hate it. I love him.
Yeah, I love him. Hey, really quick, what's your input source? Because I'm worried that you might be coming in through your earbuds. And I'll just fill the air while you're doing that. David Lynch so Twin Peaks. Actually, let's go to the Twin Peaks slide. Twin Peaks came out when I was entering high school, just to date myself a little bit.
Do you want me to turn my volume up? Because it is the mic.
Okay, no, you're good. I'm just hearing more of the air around you than I typically do, which may be a David Lynch thing.
Okay.
So Twin Peaks was my personality in high school.
Yes.
It was on Saturday nights on ABC, and there was many a Saturday night where I was not invited to a party. And so I would stay home, and I would watch Twin Peaks by myself in the living room of my mom's house with all the lights out, scared shitless. Sometimes.
Yeah. I have a distinct memory because I was in the 8th grade, I believe.
Yeah.
And the reveal of who Bob was, who the killer was, and spoilers, it's the dad, happened on my birthday. And I don't know if it was officially on my exact birthday, but it was when I had my birthday party. And so I had all of my friends over, and I was like, okay, now that we did cake and stuff, we're going to watch Twin Peaks. And most of my friends did not watch it. And I remembered we were watching it, and they were like, a bunch of 13-year-old boys were scared shitless because it was that part where you realize it's him, and you see it's the dad's switch, and he's murdering the twin cousin.
Oh, that is the.
And he's like, and then it cutting to the giant going, it's happening again.
That's the sequence I've probably seen the most in Twin Peaks, because I had that shit on tape, and I watched that murder scene so many times, not because I liked the murder, but because it was so scary and so masterfully done and so weird. I was just taking it was like David Lynch at his most David Lynch, and I was taking it all.
But also the fact that he can make something so scary that was okay to show in 1990 television. Brilliant.
Twin Peaks affected me so much. I had all of these items you see on our visual here. I had The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer. I had the cassette tape.
Me too.
That was all of Cooper's.
Oh, I did not have the cassette tape.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I did have the Diary of Laura Palmer. Well, my sister had it, and then I read it too.
Yeah. And I also had The Secret History of Twin Peaks, the book, and after The Return was over, the final dossier of Twin Peaks, which kind of is like
and we must not forget Fire Walk with Me.
Fire Walk with Me, let alone the movies. I've seen all of these movies so many times. Wild at Heart, Blue Velvet, Lost Highway.
I bought the Blu-ray of Wild at Heart and just made Joe watch it recently. It's so good.
The night he died, I made Jeff watch Blue Velvet for the first time.
I need to make Joe watch Blue Velvet. He has not seen it yet. And I really think that one, think that one's pretty accessible. I think it's weird, but it's a little more accessible than I think the other ones. I think Lost Highway I think it's so brilliant, but it is I think it's even more enigmatic than Mulholland Drive.
So what is your, if you had to explain Lost Highway to somebody in a way that they would get it, so after they've watched the movie, you're like, okay, don't you see? Go.
Well, for me, it's basically, I think Bill Pullman is being stalked by a demon. He's being stalked by a demon that's entered him. But then he ends up switching bodies with Balthazar Getty. And that's the part where I'm very confused on. And I'm still confused about who Patricia Arquette is in the two different roles, whether they're the same version or whether it's alternate. I don't know. Brett. I don't know.
My take.
Okay, go ahead.
Bill Pullman killed his wife, played by Patricia Arquette, 1.
Yes.
The demon that enters his house and takes him over it's all of the nastiness that led to the murder, and it's also it's the jealousy, it's the rage, and it's also the guilt.
Yeah.
having committed the murder. So at some point, Bill Pullman retreats into himself and sort of hides in, and this is where we get very Grant Morrison, and may I say David Lynch is responsible for me loving Grant Morrison as much as I do. Bill Pullman retreats into another persona, hiding in denial, and that persona is Balthazar Getty. And then that persona has its own adventure where he meets a woman that reminds him for some reason of this other Patricia Arquette. So,
but the demon comes back, so the guilt is creeping back in.
It's all a guilt dream, yeah.
A guilt dream. I like that. Okay.
As is Mulholland Drive.
Mulholland Drive. Now I will say I taught Mulholland Drive when I was teaching at UIC in Chicago, so I have a better grasp of explaining Mulholland Drive.
It's the same story.
Mulholland Drive.
Her lover killed, and the guilt that haunts her, and the dreams that are born from that guilt.
But the thing that's amazing about Mulholland Drive, is that it's not what the movie was, is not how it was written. This was a television show. And when it was the pilot was canceled, and this French company was like, "We will give you money to make the rest of this movie," he completely was like, "Okay, you know what? This movie, the whole pilot I shot, that's a fucking dream." And now I'm going to show you what's really happening. If there was the TV show, that TV show would have been the reality. I don't think any of this other stuff would have happened. So I think it's almost amazing that it was canceled to become this other thing. Mulholland Drive, and I'm telling you, by far, by a huge margin, is my favorite movie of all time.
Damn.
I think it is, there is not one frame that is badly made. It is amazing. It crosses, and that's what, and also in my top 5 is another movie. I respect a movie that can jump through different genres. It can be a comedy, it can be a horror, it can be a drama, it can be a thriller, and it can go back and forth seamlessly from scene to scene, and you are along for the ride. One of the other directors, my favorite directors of all time, who I think might be my now favorite living director, is Bong Joon-ho. Mm-hmm. And Parasite is in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. And he also is able to do that, of jumping through different genres. But Mulholland Drive, I still remember my other friend in grad school. I was in grad school when this came out. I was in film school. So I'm like jonesing for a new David Lynch movie. And my friend saw it before me, and she was a David Lynch fan. And I was like, "How was it?" And she's like, "I think it's the best." And I was like, "It's the best David Lynch movie?" She's like, "No, I think it's the best movie that was ever made." And I was like, "Oh my God, you can't say that. That's like putting way too high of a bar." And I went by myself, and I sat in the back row and watched it at the Music Box Theater in Chicago.
The Music Box was such a David Lynch venue in Chicago.
And at the end of it, I was like, "Nope, that's the best movie I've ever seen in my life." And then I watched it multiple times. And speaking of the Music Box Theater, I saw him live at the premiere of Inland Empire at the Music Box Theater. And so I probably have told this story before. What is that? What is that poster? Silencio! That whole scene is amazing. But listen to this. This is like, I was waiting, my boyfriend at the time, who ended up being a total asshole, but he did buy tickets.
Shocker.
For me to see Inland Empire, the premiere, and David Lynch was going to introduce it. So David Lynch was there.
Wow.
And so I remember...
What would you even say to him?
I ate a pot brownie. And I was waiting in line, and it was snowing outside. So I'm already fucking getting high as fuck. It's snowing outside. I enter the Music Box Theater, and all of the lighting is just red. He had it so it's just the red lights are up. And we sit down, and he just comes out. And he just goes, "Hello, thank you all for coming. I know I should introduce the movie, but I was listening to the organist earlier today, and I feel the best introduction to the movie would just be to have the organist do what he does." And he goes, "Have at it, maestro."
Oh.
And the organist just plays fucked up organ music for like 5 minutes. And David Lynch just stands there, staring at him on the stage. All the lighting is red. I have had pot brownie full tilt boogie. I'm like, And then at the end, he just goes, "Thank you, here's my movie," and walks off stage. It was amazing.
And then
It was
3
amazing.
hours later, did he come back?
3 hours later, Inland Empire is not my favorite of the
Not-
David Lynch
yeah,
movies,
right.
but it is still great. I do like it. But yeah, David Lynch.
But I mean, like Inland Empire brings up so many visuals of Laura Dern, and it's just you know these actors that he invented. You know, Kyle MacLachlan just recently said, you know, David Lynch invented me. You know, to take a chance on a young Kyle MacLachlan in Dune, and then catapult him to fame in Blue Velvet, and you know, and then rely on him so much as the heart and soul of Twin Peaks, and then the same thing with Laura Dern. Laura Dern, you know, at Blue Velvet, and then
Wild at Heart,
and Inland Empire, and then ultimately as Diane in Twin Peaks: The Return. I mean, this shot that we're looking at of Twin Peaks: The Return on the top right, that's it right there, right? Like that's the king and queen, and of Lynch. I'm happy that the last thing we got from him was Twin Peaks: The Return, because it did give a sense of finality to, you know, probably my favorite thing ever made, Twin Peaks. And it was just so amazing getting to live back in that town 25 years later. And you know, an important 25 years later, going back to the original line from the original Twin Peaks, I'll see you in 25 years. What a gift.
Because I will say, I was sad that he wouldn't make anything else, but he made probably one of the best pieces of television. Honestly, half of those episodes are perfect movies.
Oh, for sure.
Episode 5. What's the nuclear bomb opening?
Oh yeah,
one?
episode 8. Oh yeah.
Episode 8. Yeah, that is. I would put that in one of his my top 5 movies that he's made.
100%.
I also just love. I've been watching these interviews, and do you remember the nicknames he gave his 3 favorite actresses?
No.
Only 3 actresses, he did not call them by name ever. He gave them all nicknames. The first one was he called Laura Dern Buttercup.
Okay.
No, he didn't. He called her Tidbit. And then he called Naomi Watts Buttercup. And he called Patricia Arquette Solid Gold. So when he's directing, and he directed with a megaphone at all times. So he would be on the edge of a bed during a sex scene, just sitting at the edge of the bed with a megaphone 2 feet away from you. All right, Solid Gold, that was great. Now do it again. Like, you know, just... He's great. And we did also get the amazing appearance of him, his last appearance. I don't know if he still did some online stuff other than that, but he was in Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans.
Yeah, yep.
Playing John Ford. Brilliant. Anyway,
we could go on and on.
We could go on and on. He's just, I would say, if you haven't watched a David Lynch movie, I think the problem with David Lynch now is I think you need a little bit of an attention span. And I think young kids today, with their TikToks and stuff, you definitely need to have a bit of attention span. But once it starts to get rolling, it's amazing.
There's a scene in Twin Peaks: The Return that is just a man sweeping a floor for 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Like if
you need to have, but he's one of the few that can take me on the ride for that. You know.
And I didn't blink once during the 7 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, thank you, David.
Thank you.
You were art. I mean, this guy was just art. When I think of art, I think of him. All right.
I guess we have to talk about comic book stuff we saw.
Yeah, let's talk about what we're watching.
What you watching? Is it me naked? No? Oh, fine. Now
What
I'm a
are
villain.
we watching?
I'm doing my Lex Luthor.
Oh my God,
look.
you're bald. You shaved your head.
I did. I actually went to a barber for the first time in 20 years.
And they shaved your head?
Yeah, and I had like a full like with the straight razor they shaved my head because I wanted to be pampered.
Oh my God, I love it.
Thank you.
You're giving Nicholas Hoult in Superman.
Yes, I'm Ginger Lex Luthor.
You could be.
Or I'm
Ginger
Walter
Faggot
White. I kind
Lex
of look
Luthor.
like Walter White because I do look like
Walter
I do look
White.
like I have cancer.
No.
And I deal meth. And I deal meth.
You know what you look like? You look like Bridges in Iron Man. You look like Obadiah Stane.
Oh, okay, I'll take
But like
that.
a young version.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
The barber told me that he feels this made me look younger.
I
but
think
I
it
don't
does.
I don't know if that's true. It's
You
just
know,
weird. When
can
you think bald, you think old.
You look like a man. You look like a man. You look like a grown ass man with testicles hanging down to the floor. Okay.
Oh my god. What are we watching?
What are we watching? Oh my fucking god. I don't even want to know. Oh, Harley Quinn season 5.
Harley Quinn season 5 started
what an
up.
unexpected treat.
This show has definitely it jumped the shark last season for me.
Did it?
I'll say that. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel
with all the time travel stuff, it was kind of all over the place.
it's a little all over the place. Where I felt
Yeah.
before that it was just really, really strong. I really liked the idea of her joining the Batman and being a good guy, but it just had so many left turns that it didn't really fully focus on it. The thing I like about this is this one, it's a complete reset of like, what if Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy lived in Metropolis?
I love it.
Instead of Gotham. And so now it's all Superman stuff.
Which is great
And
because we've had enough Batman stuff.
Yes. And I'm excited about that, especially because she convinces Superman to fly away and just like leave and kind of just like take some time off. So there's no Superman. So that's like, are they now the villains or are they the heroes now of Metropolis?
The eternal question on this show. She also saved Superman's life at the end of last season.
That's right. So he like owes her.
He owes
so
her.
So she's also a hero.
She's waiting for a thank you, which he is not.
But in that, what happened with Poison Ivy? She was leading the Legion of Doom. Did she get kicked out of that with the whole Lex Luthor?
Quitting, yeah. Like, I remember it was a convoluted season. I remember they wound up time traveling together at the end of it.
Yeah, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, it got a little out of pocket. But this has the simple premise of what if the show was set in Metropolis. I love the juxtaposition that they do of Gotham and Metropolis. That Gotham... First of all, they're right across the river from one another. Genius. Never thought of them that way. Metropolis is this chrome, shiny, clean, beautiful, pristine city, and Gotham smells like piss.
Yeah.
In fact, Superman even knows that Harley Quinn is in Metropolis because he smells that unmistakable Gotham smell of piss.
Oh. And here, the newest character is Lex Luthor's sister, who I could immediately recognize the voice of Aisha Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
From Archer and Friends fame.
Yes.
And it's that she's the good sister who wants to make up for everything, but it's like, is she good?
Is she, or like,
is she bad?
Leads to, yeah.
Is she good or is she bad? So, who knows? Do you think she's good or bad? What do you think?
I think she's bad because she's a Luthor.
Yeah. But it's also so easy, which is what we just had that plot.
Maybe it's a misdirection.
With Creature Commandos. Of like...
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, she's so good, but she's actually bad.
Yeah, but maybe she's good, but now she's bad. She's good, she's bad, she's good,
she's good, she's bad, she's good, she's bad.
She's my sister, she's my mother, she's my sister, she's my mother.
She's my sister and my mother. Yeah, this, and then what I also like about this is it's very simple Harley and Ivy. Like, this is... Harley and Ivy are just together. There's no...
There's never
job
any...
situation. There's nothing in the way.
There's nothing... None of their problems have to do with each other.
Right.
And I think this is where people, they're scared to let characters get together because they're like, but that's all the tension. And you're like, you know, if you know how to do improv, there's different types of scenes. And they're always like, there's the straight and the crazy person. But another type of scene is where you're both the crazy person and the world is straight, or vice versa. Right. So rather than making it Ivy versus Harley, it's them two versus Metropolis.
Right.
And so we don't have to worry about them. Where last year it was a lot of like, she's a villain, she's a hero. How's it going to affect the relationship? The relationship, there's nothing going on. And I'm excited for this because I was so disappointed with Kite Man that I'm really hoping this will do me good. But there is a huge problem that is making me not appreciate it as much.
What?
Did you not recognize? And I think it's maybe as someone who, because I'm married to a storyboard artist,
Okay.
who pointed it out. And once he pointed it out, he was like, "Oh wow, they outsourced all of the animation. The animation is really bad."
Oh.
And I started watching it, and I was like, "Oh,
See,
the
I
facial
can't tell-
expressions aren't that
Oh,
good.
I can't tell the difference.
Everything's a lot stiffer. If you really watch it, the animation is lower quality because of budget cuts."
Okay.
And
Well,
so
it made me laugh.
that is a little disappointing to me.
Yeah.
But it's still good. It's better than Kite Man. So
I mean, most is. Sorry,
Yeah.
Batman. Harley Quinn is not the only television show of the genre that is back.
yeah, there's another supernatural show. Or is it
After-
even supernatural? I guess I would count it as supernatural.
It's sci-fi because
Sci-fi, yeah, sci-fi. Okay,
You
yeah.
can't really separate your work self and your home self like they do in
True.
Severance.
Yes, Severance.
Season 2 on Apple TV. After 3 years, it's back. Girl, I still remembered everything.
Okay, I
My
know.
husband
I
was
needed
like,
that
"What
recap.
happened?" And I was like, I will break it all down. It stayed in me like a David Lynch movie.
No, for me, they were like previously on. I'm like, thank you. Let's
Yeah.
bring it. Like I remembered most of it, but there were certain parts of like, what's the heavier guy's name? Larry?
Dylan.
Lenny? No, Dylan. Wait, what's John Turturro's name? Larry?
John Turturro.
Lenny?
Lenny.
Anyway, Dylan had the whole thing with Milicek. And I had forgotten all that, where they had that physical altercation. Like, there's things that were brought up that I forgot. But I will say in the beginning, they were explaining a lot of things. And I was maybe a little high. And I was like, oh my God, this is a lot of information. What's happening? And I did have to, I was like, can we just like rewind and watch the beginning 15 minutes again? Because they just explained a lot and I think I'm confused. And so I had to rewatch it again.
We did watch the last episode of season 1 before turning on.
Oh, well, that
season
definitely helped you. I did not do that.
Yeah. I didn't need it. My husband did. And I was happy to oblige. But so this one, it got off to, I think, a really strong start in that it didn't give us what we wanted, which is explanations.
No.
It didn't give us what we wanted in implications of what's going on in the outside world based off the actions of last season, which all took place in the outside world.
Yeah.
No. This one's set entirely
Yes.
inside Severance. Inside.
And
Lynch.
I'm gonna make a bold statement here. Ben Stiller, that opening scene,
Brava.
it takes a lot for me to be like, wow, this is a breathtaking. It was doing things with the camera that I was like, how are they doing this?
Yes.
I don't understand how this was shot. I've never seen something shot like this before. I felt it was using some new technologies and new techniques. I then later on read it took them 5 months to shoot that opening scene.
What? And the opening scene, if you haven't seen it, is Adam Scott running around the hallways of Lumen, but what they do with the camera to convey...
The camera is making quick, precise movements where you're like, that's not a steady cam. It's moving around him as if it was a steady cam, but it's making the most precise movements as if it's on a crane. And I found out it was like a newer type of Steadyman crane.
Oh, interesting.
And everything else was CGI'd. So he's really kind of running in an open space and they're adding the backgrounds in.
Got it.
And it was just I was just watching it like, how are they doing? It was just a marvel to watch. And it literally set the tone of, you don't know what the fuck is going on. He's running around trying to find his wife and can't find her. But at the same time, he's just lost in a maze. And you're watching this like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. And Ben Stiller is kind of like, exactly. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to let you know what's happening in the outside world.
What is so amazing about this show and this concept of cutting off the memories of your work self and your home self, the implications of what that does to one's sense of time is incredible. And that was such a big part of this episode. Was the first thing they tell him after he winds up back at his desk after running around forever is, it's been 5 months. And you're like, has it? How do we know? When he leaves to go to work, it's just a split second. He just then comes right back down because.
And this might be just me being an asshole, but I just feel like Adam Scott looks older than the last season for some reason. And I know it's been a couple years, but I feel he physically looks older than last season. And I know it's been, 3 years? But he looks almost purposefully older.
Interesting.
But the other characters don't, so maybe I'm just being an asshole. Where I'm like, girl, work on your skin routine.
I don't want to bring this up, but I said this last season. I was like, he used to be so cute. Anyway.
Yeah, and but I think that's part of it. It's everything shot fluorescent, so it's like fluorescent and wide angle lenses,
very harsh,
with no filters, so it's very harsh. But yeah, I feel like it's even more so.
So these characters are coming back after experiencing what the innies were in the outside world. They've learned a lot about their outside versions of themselves. Dylan learned he had a kid, and that kind of motivated him to help everyone reach the outside world. John Turturro realized that he was an artist who is investigating Lumen.
And is having visions of the hallways.
Of the hallway, Adam Scott's character, of course, realizes the woman, the therapist
is
inside
his
of Lumen
dead
is his dead wife. But probably the biggest shock was Helly, who realized that she was the daughter of the Egans, who created the company, who created this whole fucking Severance thing.
And she is brought in there to prove how great it is.
And she delivers a speech, everyone thinking she's the outside version, as the inner version, telling them what hell it is inside. So they all come back. They're reunited finally after, I guess, 5 months. They're all sharing what they learned outside. Helly straight up lies.
Mm-hmm.
She straight up lies. She's like,
there's
nothing special.
And there's two things that's going on. And the second one I don't believe, but it would be a great twist. A, she's scared if she tells them all that she's the head of it.
She's the villain.
That they're going to not trust her.
Yeah, but let's.
The other reason is
this is where I'm at.
The other reason is she's not the innie.
She's the outie.
It's the outie. But she has said some things where I was like, I feel like if she was the outie pretending, I don't know if she would do that.
But the opposite. Like she said, the first person she came across was a gardener. Only a rich woman would think of gardener. Like no one that comes from modest means is going to.
So are you saying? Do you think she's the outie?
Gardener is rich people language, so I think she's the outie.
Well, I think, but she also could have been saying gardener because she was like rich and in a mansion when she when she came to.
I don't know.
But I don't. She did say some other things where I'm like, So it is. It's definitely, it's great. Also, we were introduced to some new... Also, Milicek, I don't believe anything that he said that's going on in the outside world. He handed them a newspaper. I don't believe any of it. It's all fake. I don't believe any of it.
Yeah. And he also got a promotion. He's replacing
Patricia Arquette,
who was let go, but then wound up being the one to discover that the innies were in the outside world.
Yeah.
I think she got a promotion. I think she's higher up now. But it seems to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Patricia Arquette, by the way, David Lynch favorite.
Yeah, awkwardly, Andy Cohen was interviewing everyone for Severance, and then he's like, "Oh, news just came in. David Lynch died. Did any of you work with him?"
He's an idiot.
And then Patricia Arquette's like, and she was like, I actually knew he was dying. Like she wasn't. Yeah. You could tell she was involved with everything, but it was just this like, you're a fucking idiot, Andy Cohen.
You're a moron.
Jesus. Anyway.
Yeah.
Severance.
So happy it's back.
I have my other theory. Here's my other theory.
Uh-oh.
There's a little girl.
Oh,
There's a little girl.
Oh, can we talk about how this is the dead wife in a child's body?
Thank you. Dead wife clone. Look at us. Brett, we are. So did you also? But you also thought Ellie was the outie.
Absolutely. As soon as she said,
she lied. As soon as she lied. We are on the same. You and me are on the same page.
That's the rich one.
Yeah.
And
Fuck.
I think whatever time, I think they kept him on ice. I think they kept them comatose until they trained the rich heli to like be able to infiltrate and speak their language.
Yeah, they
And
probably
when she
had
was
her
like,
watch all of
yes.
the videos
And she
of
was like,
everything.
all right, I'm ready to go. And then they were like, okay, we'll activate them back and we'll put them in. We'll tell them it's 5 months.
This is a great show. And it's strange. I clicked on Apple TV. I don't watch anything.
Nothing.
But you'll
do you know
see
how many
shows
I've given up on Apple
Oh,
TV?
10.
All
There
of
was that
them.
Patricia Arquette had a show on Apple TV, and I'm like, great. It was terrible.
What was the one about that doll? Where they were like raising
the servant.
the servant.
Yeah, had to stop that.
The math.
I
math
wanted
space
to.
one.
I tried to watch the one with Rashida Jones.
Tried to watch Sunny. Couldn't get through that.
Yeah,
Even
it's
Luke-
weird because
Luke,
it's like
I was
these.
like, eh.
It's these. Loot wasn't good with Maya Rudolph. It's so weird because it's just like they're throwing all of this money with these huge stars, and none of it catches on with me except this one.
Yeah.
And I think this really throws it out there of just how. Like, I think it was like. I was rewatching Reality Bites, and Joe had never seen it. And Joe was like, this is really good.
Yeah.
And he's like, who directed this? I'm like, Ben fucking Stiller directed this. He's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, bitch. He's a really good director. He's really good.
Yeah. I miss him. I miss seeing him.
Yeah.
Oh, Ben. Yeah, Severance is great. And actually, Severance is helped by being on Apple TV because the company feels like Apple.
Yeah,
Lumen.
I know. Isn't
It
that
feels
crazy?
like Apple. So
Well,
it makes
especially
sense.
because as we're recording this is the day of the inauguration, where all of tech have switched. It's weird where it's like literally within the past year, every tech bro has switched over to the dark side.
Yeah, especially even TikTok. Thank
Yeah,
you to the
TikTok,
glorious President
Meta,
Trump. Like, what?
Amazon, Apple have
Yeah.
all gone to the side of Trump. And now I'm just like, and people are like, I'm going to give up on this. And I'm like, what are you going to give up? Everything?
you
You're going
gonna
to get rid of you're going to get rid of everything?
Right. See,
We're
on Blue Sky,
trapped.
We're trapped,
Ugh.
like so many Severance employees. We're
Yes.
trapped.
And luckily, because nobody watches our YouTube show, we can shit talk Trump and not worry about it messing up
worry
our
about it.
algorithm.
That's right. Yay. And
All right, should we talk about some comic books?
let's do it.
All right, then. It's mutants with powers, Omega for hours. Bitch, let's read some X-Men.
X-Men. This one's going to be short.
X-Men! What? Yeah,
This one's
there's
going
not
to
a
be
lot.
short.
We got Laura Kinney.
Laura Kinney, Wolverine, number 2.
This like, there's a lot of things that didn't make sense with this for me. And I know I should like not care. But if a character's power is to just explode when his mutant powers activate, why would you resurrect him? I don't understand.
right.
Why was he resurrected? So that didn't make any sense to me.
You know what I wish? I wish Psylocke and this were one book. No Elektra. Have it be Laura Kinney and Psylocke together, because it'll be the same fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And then this ended with like a huge bomb blowing up a bunch of people.
Like in New York. I have to think like, you're going to say this was an illusion or something, right? Like you're not going to...
Yeah, you're really going to suddenly like blow up just a bunch of innocent
Right.
people?
Right.
I don't know. I'm just not. And then I'm just not really digging the interaction between Elektra, Daredevil, and
Yeah.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
They're too similar that it's not that interesting to me.
And that's kind of there's like so much similarity going on between this and the Psylocke book. Like just make it one story, work on developing Quanon and Laura's relationship.
Yeah. Also, I'm also finding the world is in such a bad place right now that I kind of I think comics need to start. I think they need to be like, it's a world where like Luke Cage is the mayor and he's really concerned with mutants, and I'm like, no, we need to concentrate on oligarchs. I want
Right.
us to. We need to start reflecting more of
I
like
would
what's
like
going on in
the
the
world
world.
outside my window, Marvel, like you used to.
Yeah, which is like I kind of want it to be where the people with the money are actually the villains, and someone like Iron Man has to really question what's going on.
Someone like Emma Frost has to question.
Yeah, so right now it's like with these things, with the world being so insane, I'm not as invested in because it's like usually the comic book world is crazier, but the outside world is crazier. So I don't know. It's kind of a mind fuck right now.
It is kind of a mindfuck, and I mean, especially in our X-Men books, like marginalized classes are currently facing kind of the worst social blowback I've seen in my lifetime. And here's a book about mutants, the marginalized class. Are we going to say anything with these books, with these vehicles?
Yeah, and I think
or,
it needs
or
to.
also,
Yeah,
or is Marvel too afraid as well?
and I think they've set it up where it's like people kind of hate mutants again. But I don't know if they're really. It needs to reflect more. I don't know. I'm just not.
I think it needs to reflect how hating mutants is pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
And
also
correct.
how so many people are just okay with it. And also people being like, well, it's not really affecting my life. I don't know any mutants. So I don't really care what the government does because I want the price of eggs to go down. Like, I want to see those kind of stories.
I want to see Marvel heroes battle indifference.
And here's the reason why that's not going to happen is because in the end, it's owned by Disney.
Yeah.
And so Disney is not going to do any of that. In fact, they might actually start I'm just scared that these stories are going to be directed to be pro-Trump.
Well, because here's what I think is happening is that there were some people who laughed at the idea of the words culture war, and then there are some people who were actually fighting a culture war, and I have to think that there are many people who see the Trump and the fascist takeover of our media platforms as the final battle of the culture war, and sort of the winning blow. And
if you look at the TikTok ban, Democrats were so scared of China influencing people on TikTok about Gaza that they let Trump take over and now permanently right-wing shift. Because I'm just going to give my conspiracy theory. When TikTok went down, they were switching servers. And all the algorithms
100%.
will now be... After they said, thank you, Trump, for bringing TikTok back, everything is... They are going to suppress all leftist rhetoric. Yes. They turned off all the lives until after the inauguration, so no lives could show the protests. It's a wrap, everybody. And so I'm going to hold X-Men to the fire. Because here's the deal, is we need to start being subversive. You could clearly put those themes in these X books where the rich, dumb Disney CEOs aren't going to be paying attention and realize it.
Correct.
Anyway, so...
Hide them in the nerd shit.
Do you have anything else to say about this one?
I mean, I'm going to start writing my own fucking X-Men comics if they don't become the voice that they should become.
Exactly. All right. Next we have Storm.
Monroe.
This is all leading to... I felt the pacing was very weird with this.
It felt abrupt.
Because she meets with Doom. Doom's a dick. And then he's like, oh, you're not using your powers. Well, I'm going to give you your powers. And she's like, ugh. And then the being comes out and is like, ha, you used your powers and I'm going to kill you. And I was like, but she didn't really use them. He forced her to do that.
Yeah.
But then she comes back to life and is now, what is her name? Eternal Storm?
So Eternity has kind of had its eyes on her here and there throughout these issues so far. And I guess that was kind of leading up to some sort of transformation in the image of Eternity.
Yeah. How do we feel about this, of her becoming Eternity Storm?
We'll see where it goes. You have this character that... I mean, I really trust this writer. I think this writer's really great. But you have this character that represents the best in us. Always makes the right decision. This character that we look to for kind of this... For humanity. For the moral compass. And now... Is she going to become a cosmic being? And are we going to lose her like we lost Jean?
Yeah. For me, this is a person that doesn't even need powers to be a compelling character. She doesn't need the powers. And so giving her all of the powers in a way, it just seems so unnecessary. So I'm going to like see where it goes with this, but I'm like, she doesn't need any more powers. She's already an Omega level mutant. I don't know if she needs any. Like, what is this? I want to see where it goes. Right now, I'm just like,
from an upgrade.
it's not for me some exciting twist because I don't think she needs it. She can do anything.
I was more interested in the childhood scenes where we saw Storm as a young girl with her father eating breakfast. Those are like that. Give me that all day, every day.
Exactly.
I'll take that shit. I'll take whatever oatmeal she's eating.
But I don't really have much else to say about this other than...
It was a transitional issue.
Yeah, we need to see where it goes from here for me to make a decision. And
then we got Exceptional X-Men number 5.
I quit.
With Melee saying, I quit.
Because you're a killer.
You killed people.
You killed people. And it does show you because I'm someone who's very anti-killing. So I understand her position. But also, were you not aware that they were in war? There was war. Right. Like, it's war.
Right.
So when there's a wartime, and also I feel Kitty is being so hard on herself.
Be kinder to yourself.
Where it's like, you were in war. These were soldiers that were actively murdering everybody, and then we're going to kill you, and then kill more mutants. I think you need to let it go that you killed people.
Be a little bit more forgiving. Especially Melee, you don't know the context. Like, you killed people? I'm out.
Yeah, well, Melee is...
She's a 19.
She's very Gen Z.
She's very Gen Z.
And it is because, no offense Gen Z, but a lot of times Gen Z are more concerned with being right.
Yes.
Than being just.
Yes.
And they want to live in the reality that they've never made a wrong decision.
Correct.
Even if it's screwing over the rest of the world, aka people that didn't vote.
They don't like gray areas, these Gen Zers.
Yeah, they like it. And I'll tell you, that's my other biggest fear. Gen Z is so black and white. Do you know who the other generation that is very black and white? Boomers! And Gen Z is going to be boomers when they get older. They're going to be insufferable.
Yeah.
But we will be dead, so it doesn't matter.
And we have no kids to care about, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but can we talk about how the MVP here is really Emma. Emma is the voice of reason, kind of.
How about the scene where Emma snaps at Kitty and then collects herself?
Mm-hmm.
She sure does scream in her face and then clears her throat, takes a breath, takes a swig, and repeats what she said more calmly.
Exactly.
She said, It has everything to do.
Yeah, it's for the children. She's here because the only person she trusts with fixing the next generation to fight against everything is Kitty.
Yeah.
And she and I think that's the thing here is she's playing because that's what Kitty wants her to be, is the cool and collected person. Emma is not here. I don't think she's even here necessarily right now because she wants to start the new generation. She's here because she knows Kitty is in trouble.
I mean, think about she was scanning everybody. She was spying on everybody. And and I would imagine she was doing that, trying to answer the question, who needs me?
Yeah.
And turns out her favorite answer, Kitty.
And then we do see another thing where Melee, her cousin, is a mutant who her mutant came out as giving like lizard-like appearance, so it's like she can't hide it.
Yeah.
And she's like, people are making fun of me, and she ends up being like going in and wants to be right, and goes in and tells all the students like, you better all fuck, and then just makes everything worse. And that's the whole thing of like her kind of realizing like, oh, everything isn't black and white. Maybe I will go back to Kitty because I kind of don't know shit. I'm a stupid teenager.
It's actually a really well-written issue.
Yes.
A really well-written book.
Yeah. I like it. And it ends with the cousin. There's an app where it's like, we can try and get rid of your mutant powers if you send us your DNA.
Yeah.
And the cousin is doing it, and I'm like, well, that's not good.
Don't ever send your DNA into somewhere. I wound up with a brother last time it happened.
Fun. Oh yeah, I'm not doing any. I've never done 23andMe. I don't want to know. I don't want to know anything.
Which, by the way, I have not gotten back to this guy who I'm related to in like weeks over email, and like every day goes by, and it's eating away at me. I don't know what to do.
You don't. Blood with someone you've never met ever. You don't know them anything.
You don't know them shit. I know. But I also want to be like a nice person.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He wants to meet my sister. My sister's like, I don't want any part of it. And I'm like, I'm stuck in the middle. Anyway.
And that's X-Men.
Then that's X-Men.
Lovely.
That's all we got for today, kids.
It's sad. It's sad. Trump is president. David Lynch has died. I've been this weekend. I cried.
I cried.
Yeah, it was not good. And also then TikTok went away too. So for like 12 hours. So I was just very much like, what? Oh, we are in the worst timeline.
This is some America does fascism. Let's go. But as always, the revolution will be podcasted.
And you know what? There was one group that I think can fight against all of this, and it's the people that read comics.
Yes.
And by that, I mean gay people and queer
Queers.
people.
Yeah. Why?
Because if you read comics, well, then that makes you queer. Bye.
Bye.